Hey everyone, it's LS, and this is a video reacting to the LCS news. You guys might have saw my tweet yesterday. I said that there was going to be a really big change that was going to be coming, and finally is announced by Riot, and a lot of other people started talking about it. So let's just basically get into what is going on. Riot put out this article on LoL Esports, says that there's now going to be a new third international event, innovative fearless draft game mode in Tier 1 play, unified split schedule for all leagues, proposed multi-region leagues in Asia Pacific and Americas, experiment with guest team slots, promotion, relegation, new international event league slots. This is a really cool thing that LCK has been trying to do for a really long time. I think Arnold has actually been spearheading that in LCK, but it has not ended up happening. Fully connected season-long journey. So this is now going to be Split 1, new event, Split 2, MSI, Split 3, regular league championship, and then Worlds. So this is the new format. So this is very cool. Now, the thing with this, though, is the off-season is going to be real weird. I'm wondering how we're going to... This... Burnout's like a real thing, and I'm not totally sure about this. Okay. New split structure with new international event. We're also refining our regional split structure. Starting next season, all regions begin with the new international tournament for split. A second split will then qualify teams for MSI, which will then move into the later calendar to roughly begin the beginning of July. Our third and final split in each region will culminate with a regional championship to crown one season-long champion in each region, focusing on a single regional championship to make the splits more cohesive and interconnected, raises the stakes for many of our regular season matches, and provides an enticing season-long build-up to Worlds, our biggest event of the year. New multi-regional Americas, APAC leagues, and guest team slots. Okay. In addition to optimizing our business model with pro teams, we're looking for ways to increase the competitiveness, etc. All right, so the LCS in America is seeing an upswing in sentiment and achieved its first year-over-year growth in viewership in 4 years. Brazil's CBLOL is more popular than ever with an incredible fandom and viewership numbers. Now, for people that have not seen me talk about this before, it is my belief that CBLOL in Brazil is the second biggest region in the world in League of Legends behind China and the LPL. It's actually bigger than Korea. And that is why, especially in recent years where Brazil is becoming a lot better of a region and their top teams do look like they can contend with, several higher-end LEC teams, LCS teams, etc., that I've even started advising, professional players should genuinely consider going to CBLOL and building up fandoms there and whatnot. Fans have been actively participating in our multi-language broadcasts and co-streams and showing growing enthusiasm. Yeah, I mean, this is all really good. So basically what's going to happen here is I believe they're fusing it, right? So yeah, combined forces is a new Pan-America League that will be good for fans, teams, and pros in this new proposed model. The LCS and CBLOL would now compete as North and South conferences. Okay. Here's how the America splits will work. Split 1. Teams will first compete with their respective conferences, with top performers qualifying for cross-conference play, where a single team will qualify for the new global tournament. Split 2 for MSI. The top team from each conference would secure one slot, and a total of 2 American teams. Split 3, an American's regional championship would determine 3 teams advancing to Worlds with at least one team from each conference. Okay. One advantage of making the decision to restructure Americas and that we can experiment with innovations that our prior structure wouldn't allow, in this case by incorporating a guest team slot in Tier 1 for the Tier 1 and 2 system. The best teams coming from Tier 2 would compete in promotion relegation tournament at the end of each America season against the existing guest team from each conference. The victorious team would earn a slot in their respective conference for the following season, enabling continued fresh talent infusion and competitive dynamicism. I love learning words. To a top-level professional play. In developing the newly proposed model, our goals are to capitalize. So, okay, in the fall, we plan to release further details on the selection process for the teams in North and South conferences, outline the competitive structure for each tier split, and how we plan to enhance cross-conference play, and provide updates to the Tier 2 systems throughout the Americas. Okay. Since the formats, etc., international event slots, so new event, 5 teams, 1 slot per region, MSI, 10 teams, 2 slots per region, Worlds, 17 teams, 1 slot granted to MSI champion, 1 slot to second best performing region, 3 slots per region, 15 total. Okay, international event slots, trade-off. We believe strongly that the future we're building towards will be a strong one for fans, pros, and teams. sports to be more streamlined and easy to follow and have more exciting events are proposed. Proposal does reduce the number of teams within our Tier 1 ecosystem. Simply put, we have too many teams in Tier 1 to support sustainably. Yes, we do. We do have too many teams, and it is a problem. And if we want the esport to survive, we are heading towards a point where we're just having teams to have teams. And that's not particularly great, especially when the money is sort of drying up. And when the money's drying up and people are willing to do less and people are willing to just not go to the same lengths that they once were, and we're becoming more dependent on the community and stuff like this, it's good to downsize a little bit. And I mean, look at what LCS did when it downsized to 8. It was so much better, right? The viewing experience, the competitiveness of the region, the games, everything was more exciting. So yes, I think that it's good. This should also help concentrate player talent, making it easier for fans to follow a streamlined ecosystem. Okay. Now, I am a fan of all of these changes, and I understand that a lot of Brazilian fans are going to be very upset with that because they don't want CBLOL to go away. But CBLOL isn't necessarily going away in the way that people are thinking, right? CBLOL is still going to exist. It's going to be a new kind of CBLOL. And it's going to be kind of more competitive. Now this is becoming Raw versus Smackdown. And that is really, really, really cool. That's really cool that it's becoming Raw versus Smackdown. So Riot is going full WWE. And that's awesome because League has to be viewers first. And it has to do what is best for the longevity of the game. And having the bottom LCS teams, the bottom CBLOL teams, because guys, let's look at Split 1, okay? Okay? Guys, there's a lot of bottom teams. All right, there's a lot of bottom teams. Now, if we go to 2023 season, right? There's a lot of bottom teams. All right, this isn't competitive. Okay, this is not competitive. This doesn't even have a. This is not competitive. Okay, that's not competitive. Downsize it, make it more competitive, get more of the best players all in the teams. Then what you can do, because you downsize the Tier 1, you can make the Tier 2 more competitive, and you can actually properly finance, fund it, and build it, because now you have more resources because you're less strained on the Tier 1. Now, I'm someone who has been in esports for 20 years. I've been a part of several game deaths. And what I mean by game deaths is I've watched games that I was a part of basically die. Obviously, I'm referencing StarCraft. I am referencing StarCraft 2, sort of, right? I mean, it's hanging on by a thread. Not really, but, it depends who you talk to. And then, Hearthstone even, Warcraft, and other ones. So I've been a part of region locking. I've been a part of, Blizzard just doing absolutely atrocious decisions and all these other types of things. I think Riot is doing a phenomenal decision here that while some people might be crying is like, oh, this is not super good. No, it's very good. You're getting more international competition that builds natural storylines. And then you're making things more competitive because you're stacking the teams that much more due to the reduced amount of teams. That's really good. And so now because of that, it becomes more cutthroat to go to the international events, which then means that because the practice quality and the competitiveness in your local regions are now better, when your teams do go to the international events, they also perform better. So it's just a win all around. So now also with this Raw versus Smackdown dynamic going on, we get so many cool storylines, and there's so many other cool things going on. And so that's why I posted the Civil War image yesterday on Twitter, because it's like, whose side are you on? This is Raw versus Smackdown, and that's so cool. And then obviously we have our WrestleMania matches and stuff. I'm losing my voice. That's really cool. Riot made an absolutely phenomenal decision with this. Now, I have known about this for about 2 years. However, there were some other things that were rumored to potentially happen that didn't. For instance, NA was supposed to open up potentially all their import slots. That didn't happen, thankfully. Well, I don't know if it's thankfully, but yeah, that didn't apparently happen. Then there was a thing where PCS was supposed to not count as an import for every region. That would have been crazy. Because then NA would have imported so many players overnight. Doggo, right? Levi, all these players would have just been picked up and all this stuff. That didn't happen. But this one has been in the books for a while, and there's been several people that have talked about it, and we have alluded to it. A lot of people wondered, why did I start doing CBLOL co-streams? Well, you know, like, I talked about that there would be some reasons, and I did want to follow the CBLOL scene, and I've always spoken positively of CBLOL the last couple of years, because year over year, CBLOL is the most impressive international region in that it continues to show up and get progressively better, and the way that it gets better is cerebrally. And that's what's most fascinating compared to, say, NA or EU. So I'm really excited about that. Now, the split stuff, I am a little bit concerned about the burnout, and that does make me a little bit worried, because I'm not sure exactly how this works. I am worried about burnout. Conference structure. The North Conference will be made up of 6 existing partner LCS teams. Now, I'm going to assume that this is FlyQuest, Shopify, Cloud9, Team Liquid. I think that those are basically guaranteed. Now, I have heard rumors of a certain team merging with another team. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know who the other 2 teams would actually be. Will the merger team stay? I don't know. Now, we do know also there has been several teams that have been trying to get out of LCS for a while. The 2 that ended up leaving were not just the ones that necessarily wanted to leave. So that's interesting. 1 existing LLA team, 1 guest team. That's pretty fine as well. Now, the conference structure stuff, I think that this is also an experiment in LCS. And the reason that I say that I think it's an experiment in LCS is because I know that there are talks to try to make stuff like this happen even in Asia, to cause more international competition and to cause more international play, to cause overlap with fan bases, because doing things like WWE and getting more Raw versus Smackdowns is very good for storylines, for overlapping communities. It's like collabing on Twitch, you know, or like collabing on Twitter, and you're an idiot if you're a streamer and you don't do that, you know, stuff like this. So promotion relegation. 1 guest team spot would be reserved in each conference of the Americas League for promotion and relegation through the Tier 2 system. Starting in 2025, representative from NACL and LRN would compete. That is amazing. That's amazing. Now, no one has an excuse. And now, NACL matters. And now, also, again, because of the reduction in the Tier 1, more resources can be allocated to the Tier 2, which means Tier 2 can actually be fostered better, and it can become actually proper. It's really good. Really, really, really good by Riot. Starting next split, all regions will begin the new international tournament first split featuring Fearless Draft. Now, here's the thing about Fearless Draft. It's fake. It's completely fake. Now, it's fake for, if you guys have been watching LPL, you've watched, you know, if you've been watching LPL, if you watched NACL, if you watched LCK Academy, LCK Academy series, you guys can see Fearless Draft is fake. It's just fake. Basically, teams just mimic each other's drafts. They basically just handshake stuff. It doesn't do anything. Riot, I don't know what the solution is. I talked with some pro players because teams just don't draft. They don't draft. And it shouldn't even be insulting to say that. It's not a skill set that comes from League of Legends. It is a mechanic that exists within League of Legends because drafting is a feature within League, but it is not a core factor of League of Legends the way that it would be in, say, Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering or, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or, you know, other trading card games, or like Battlers or something like that, right? Teams aren't drafting. And we see this all the time. We see this with very stagnant champion pools. We see this with the same champions being rotated over and over and over. We see it all the time. And then we see LARPers on Twitter all the time saying that X champion is just bad because so-and-so doesn't play it. And then so-and-so does play it, and then they go and delete their tweets from 3 months ago. So that's cool. Basically, it's crazy. Fearless Draft is not a solution because it's not actually utilized. The only time where Fearless Draft becomes a cool thing is best of fives. Best of fives, it does eventually play a part in a best of five. I will concede that. I think what Riot needs to do, and they're not going to do it, is they need to do a thing where they basically say, hey, this week, these 60 champions are available. Good luck. Sealed. That's what they need to do. If anyone has ever played Pokemon, Cookie Run, Yu-Gi-Oh or like Magic sealed, you get a sealed pack of cards. You get several booster packs, and you have to open up all those packs, and you make a deck, and you play. So basically, Riot, at the very beginning of the week, maybe Monday, right? Because games are Saturday, Sunday or something. They would reach out to the teams and be like, here's your 60 champions. Good luck. Right? And it would have 12 ADCs maybe, or like, it would have just different champions, right? Every single week, different champions, and they just cycle it. And that would be cool because no one would necessarily know exactly what's going on. Now, we see the balance changes that happen all the time. Patches, there's a lot of filler patches. Not a whole lot of stuff is going on, right? So let's not even make the excuse that something would be going on there. We've seen a lot of gripes about balance patches and stuff. I've obviously talked about it time and time again. I think that would be really cool. I think sealed would be really, really, really interesting. Now, some people would say, oh, that's not fair. Pro players need time to... No, it's a skill in itself to be able to do that, right? Sealed is a format, right? The same way that there are limited professionals in trading card games is the same way there are constructed professionals, right? Someone's going to be better at constructed, then they're going to be better at sealed. What matters is the viewership experience. And the problem is that objectively, viewership is going to be better when there is more unique champions, when people aren't seeing the same champions every single game. People don't actually know. There's not discernibility. People can't actually tell if they're the difference between Chovy versus BDD, right? Both super elite, BDD S tier mid laner, right? Chovy Z tier mid laner, right? If a regular casual viewer, MSI Worlds getting millions of views, right, watching the game, you take the nameplates off, they're not going to be able to tell if it's Chovy or BDD, right? Based on a play. They're just going to know it's a pro player. It's one of the best in the world. Casters hyping it up. Co-streamers hyping it up. Whoever they're watching, they're just going to know it is cool. It's awesome, right? There's not enough discernibility there. So, obviously, some players, they're going to go God mode sometimes, and it's going to be really hype on certain champions. Cool. That's great. But the reality is that those movements are going to be really, really, really rare. So, viewability, watchability, all these other things need to supersede the argument that, expertise on a champion and just religiously playing it is more important so that you can get higher quality games or something. Because that's just... Oh, man. Anyways. New champ comes out. Every player in the world can apparently play it after a week, and apparently everyone's God mode on it. Anyways, third and final split in each region will culminate with the region championship to crown one. All right, so this is all good. Cross-conference play. The Americas League would have their teams competing within their respective conferences each split. At key points throughout the year, the best teams from each conference would battle it out. This is so good. Raw versus Smackdown, man. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. Riot, you guys did such a good job. Honestly, everyone's going to be like, LSAK, League shill or something, or loving Riot shill. I don't know. But honestly, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Really good changes. I hope I covered everything for you guys. Now I'm going to go react to the new Meddler, Riot coming at you video. Bright Moon's not there, man. I'm going to cry. I'm going to miss Bright Moon. But I'm going to go react to that now, so I'll see you guys there. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.